Hunter-gatherers worked about 3 to 5 hours a day. The rest of the time, they had nothing urgent to do. We know this by looking at modern foraging groups like the Kungsan and the Hadza. They live in environments that closely mirror how our ancestors survived for most of human history. And what you see in those camps is a staggering amount of downtime. Getting food and making stone tools only takes up a fraction of the daylight. Basic survival is actually pretty quick. For a long time, the modern world assumed early humans lived on the brink of starvation. We pictured them endlessly trekking through hostile landscapes, desperate for the next meal. The bones and artifacts they left behind show the environment provided enough calories, and hunter-gatherers didn't desire more possessions than they could carry on their backs. Because they met their basic needs with so little labor, the anthropologist Marshall Solins famously called them the original affluent society. They were rich in time. They got bored and then they made art. In caves along the coast of South Africa, red ochre stains the sandy floor. About 100,000 years ago, people deliberately ground up iron-rich rocks to make a vibrant red paste for painting themselves in their cave walls. They were changing how the world looked just because they could. 75,000 years ago, they were making jewelry. People gathered tiny scavenger snails from the estuary and pierced their shells with bone tools before stringing them together. They wore them as necklaces or bracelets. Making personal adornments takes hours of focused, completely unnecessary effort. You have to carefully punch a hole without shattering the shell and twist plant fibers into a strong string. You only do that if you have free time. You only invent music if you have the time to sit around and listen. In a cave in southern Germany, the dirt hid fragments of a beautifully crafted flute. Someone carved it from the wing bone of a griffin vulture about 40,000 years ago. It has 5 finger holes and can play complex melodies. Early musicians carved other flutes out of mammoth ivory. Mammoth ivory is incredibly hard and naturally curved. Someone split the tough ivory along its grain and sealed the hollowed halves back together perfectly airtight. That is an intense amount of labor just to hear a song. Ancient humans sat by the fire, listening to someone play a melody. Long before humans were carving flutes, they were telling stories. Every single culture on Earth uses narrative. Before we painted on cave walls, we entertained each other with myths and gossip. In fact, socializing might be the main thing ancient humans did with their free time. Primates like chimpanzees spend up to a fifth of their day picking bugs and dirt out of each other's hair. It builds trust and keeps the group together. But physical grooming only works if your group is small. You can only pick bugs off one friend at a time. When human groups grew larger than 150 people, there simply weren't enough hours in the day to physically groom everyone. Social brain hypothesis argues that language evolved to solve this exact problem. Gossip is vocal grooming. It lets you bond with several people at once from across the fire while your hands are busy doing something else. Language allowed early humans to maintain huge social networks without spending all day picking through hair. They could talk about who shared their food and who was cheating. They were doing exactly what we do when we have nothing else to do. They were hanging out. Ancient humans played and created. They had rich social lives and plenty of time to be bored. Agriculture allowed us to feed more people, but it demanded endless, backbreaking labor in return. Farmers have to plant and harvest fields. They have to grind and store grain. We traded leisure time for reliable calories. The work never stopped. Civilization trapped you in work. Your ancestors probably had more free time than you do.